Hey guys, I'm Crystal Mack and welcome back to my channel, Beauty Makes Me High. Today's tutorial is all about the skin. I'm going to be showing you my flawless, pretty foundation powder routine. So I hope that you guys enjoy. I try to use as few products as possible, so just keep watching and I hope that I can show you something new today. And if you like it, or if you like these kinds of videos, please thumbs up, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about my channel. That would be awesome. Alright guys, let's get into it. So I already started by moisturizing my skin with a daytime moisturizer, and then I primed my skin. So the primer that I use typically is Max Prep and Prime in Natural Radiance. And this is like a moisturizing primer. It is creamy. It's not a silicone primer, and it keeps my skin from getting oily, but it also is kind of tacky, so it kind of holds on to the product. And from there I go straight to foundation, and I use my foundation. This is actually a new foundation I've been using, but I really love it, and it is the True Blend in D4, and they have a lot of different shades that you can use, and I'm actually not going to use a lot of foundation today. And then I use a dual fiber brush, and this is by Real Techniques. It's called a stippling brush, and I just kind of tap it in there, and then I tap it on my skin and blend it in. And it looks kind of light, but once I blend it in, it's not so light. So that's done. Now the more if you are in need of full coverage, you can layer your foundation. This foundation actually does layer to a pretty full coverage foundation. I don't really need full coverage foundation today because my skin is, I don't know why it's been so awesome lately, but I'm gonna knock on wood. So I just use a light layer. Next, I'm going to use a little concealer to brighten. And the concealer I'm using is Max Mineralized Concealer in NC45. So my foundation is actually a cool tone. My concealer is a warm tone. As you can see, it's way more yellow based than the foundation I use. I'm just gonna tap that in there. Now, I personally like a more natural looking highlight. I don't like really dramatic highlights. And it's a personal preference. So you'll see once I blend it in that it's not going to be that dramatic. And you want to make sure you make your funny faces, get it all the way in the crease, in that little corner, and blend down. So as you can see, it just added a little bit of brightness. It's not too dramatic. I'm putting this product on with a dual fiber brush. We're going to go straight down the nose, get our Cupid's bow, chin, and depending on the day, sometimes I highlight above my brow and sometimes I don't. I mean, in my forehead. Now we're going to use a powder to set everything. Now, if this were a nighttime look and I was going out, I had a smoky eye, I would use a lighter powder underneath my eye. But since it's daytime and this is just, I just want to look put together, I'm going to use the same color all over my face. And that is MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark, which is my favorite. And I'm just going to work this in everywhere. Now, if you want to stop here, you can, but if we stop here, our skin we have a little bit of highlight here, but for the rest of our face, it's very flat, it's very one-dimensional. And so what we want to do now is to bring some life back to it. Because, foundation is only one shade. Our skin is naturally more than one shade. So in covering up everything to make it all look smooth and pretty, we made it all one color. So in order to add a little bit of more life to our face, I'm going to start with a bronzer. And you can use any kind of bronzer you like. I just use MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Deep, which is the shade down from what I use on the rest of my face. And it doesn't have shimmer in it. So I personally don't like a shimmery bronzer. But it's kind of up to you. And what you're going to want to do is take a wide brush. And this is a long kabuki brush that I got from Icing. And I'm just going to get right here in my cheeks. And if you can see in the camera, it's giving me a little bit more life. And I'm just going to do one half of my face just so you can see the difference. I'm going to do right up here. Kind of like a C. And then also, I'm going to get right in here on my chin. And if you can see, this side of my face looks definitely more fresh and awake. And the bronzer has actually made my highlight pop a little bit. And this side just kind of looks flat and lifeless. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side also. Now if you want to be really daring, you can go down your nose. And I just take a flatter brush. This is actually from BH Cosmetics. And just kind of go straight down the side of my nose. And you can see the difference that it makes on that side of my nose. And we're keeping it really natural by using a shade that's not that much darker than my natural shade. The color that I use on the rest of my face. And I'm going to come around the bottom a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to contour a little bit. And I'm just going to contour a little bit because I like my cheeks to look a little bit more sucked in. And I'm taking a darker shade. And this is an NW50. It's Studio Fix. And this is just a powder foundation that I'm using. Some people use blunt. You can use any kind of darker, powdery product that you like. Some people even use brown eyeshadow, which works fine as long as it doesn't have shimmer in it. And I'm going to, if you can see on my face, I'm just going to follow this line right here. I'm just going to carve it in a little bit. And then blend up. Blend it into the bronzer a little bit. And you can do this first, but I find it easier to blend once my bronzer is already there. And so if you look at my face, you can see my face has a little bit more definition here. And the more definition you want, the more contour powder you can use. And blend up. What you don't want to do, these are two tips. What you don't want to do is, you want to make sure that once you carve that line out, you don't blend down. And you also want to make sure that you don't come too close into your mouth and you look like you have a beard. So you want to stop right. I like to stop right where kind of the middle of my eye is. So if I go down from my middle of my eye, I like to stop right about there. And that's enough for me. And so now we look alive. Alright, and then we're almost done. We're going to add a little bit of blush. And I'm using a very neutral blush. And this is called Pinch Me. And it doesn't have any shimmer in it. It's also matte. So everything I've used today, even my eyeshadows, are matte except for like under my eyebrow or whatever. And we're just going to put this right on your cheeks. Now this is another tip for you guys in blush. A lot of times you see people do like this to put their blush on. Cheese. And they put their blush on. This works for younger women. If your skin, or if you feel like things are starting to move south, you don't want to do that, because when you stop smiling, your cheeks are going to be lower than they are when you smile. Okay? So I try not to smile a lot. I try to just kind of find my cheekbone, or I want my blush to look good when I'm smiling and when I'm not smiling, if that makes sense. And it takes practice. But if you put your bronzer on, you can kind of see exactly. Once you put your bronzer and contour on, you can kind of see where you want your blush to go. Now, if you put on too much, and I didn't today, but just in case, let's say you get a little bit dramatic, I always like to blend the top of where I put my blush with my face powder, just to make it look kind of seamless. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of highlight. And I'm going to go back in with this same brush that I used to contour my nose. And this is Whisper of Guilt by MAC, and it is actually limited edition. But Soft and Gentle is really good. And I mean, if you go to the MAC counter, they have a lot of different highlights. The Balm makes really good highlighting products. So it's plenty of things out there for you. And I'm just going to go down the center of my nose. I'm going to get my Cupid's bow on my chin a little bit. And then right at the top of my cheek. And this is one of those things that it never shows up really well on camera, and I'm going to blend that out. But when you take, it doesn't show up good when I'm filming, but when I take a picture, it makes a difference. And if you like, you can just put a little bit in the center, since we didn't put any concealer there. And just blend that out too. Alright. So now we have our flawless face. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of lip gloss, and I'm using my new fave. This is Pink Velvet by Lime Crime, and it's a velveteen. It goes on really wet, but it dries and it lasts all day. So now that we've got the lips on, you can actually see how that little highlight over the Cupid's bow makes your lips pop. And I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup look. I can't wait to see you guys next time. See ya!